Most people believe that living alone, especially in later life, leads to loneliness. But what if the opposite is true? What if solitude, when understood deeply, becomes a source of peace, clarity, and quiet strength? There are older people who choose to live alone, not because they have less life, but because they have come to understand it more deeply. If you have ever questioned the meaning of solitude or felt drawn to a quieter way of being, this video may change how you see it. In Buddhist wisdom, solitude is not seen as absence, but as presence, a return to the self, a gentle awakening. Today, we will explore 5 remarkable qualities often found in older individuals who live alone, and why their way of life may hold a quiet kind of mastery. 1. Deep inner stillness. One of the most profound qualities you may notice in older individuals who live alone is a deep and unwavering inner stillness. This is not something that appears suddenly. It is cultivated slowly over years of letting go, of noise, of unnecessary desires, of the constant need to react. When a person spends time alone, especially in later life, something begins to settle. The mind, which once rushed from thought to thought, gradually becomes less restless. There is less urgency to chase, to prove, to become. Instead, there is a quiet presence, a calm awareness that observes life without being overwhelmed by it. In Buddhist teachings, this state is often described as a mind that is no longer constantly grasping. Like a lake undisturbed by wind, it reflects reality clearly, and this clarity brings a kind of peace that is not dependent on circumstances. You may notice that people who are comfortable living alone do not rush to fill silence. They do not fear empty moments. In fact, they often cherish them. Silence becomes a companion, not something to escape. In that silence, they are able to hear something deeper, the rhythm of their own thoughts, the subtle movements of their emotions, the quiet unfolding of life itself. There is a well-known teaching about a monk who asked his master how to find peace. The master simply replied, "Stop chasing." At first, the monk was confused, but over time, he realized that peace was never something to be found outside. It was what remained when the chasing stopped. This is the stillness that many older individuals who live alone begin to embody. You may also feel this within yourself at times, perhaps in the early morning, before the world becomes busy, or in a quiet evening when everything slows down. That sense of calm, that gentle awareness, is not something distant. It is already within you. Living alone, for those who embrace it, creates the space for this stillness to grow stronger. Without constant distraction, the mind begins to rest, and in that rest there is clarity, there is peace, there is a quiet strength that does not need to announce itself. This is not emptiness, it is fullness without noise. And when you begin to experience this kind of stillness, even briefly, you may start to understand why some people no longer seek constant company. Not because they reject others, but because they have discovered something deeply nourishing within themselves. 2. Freedom from attachment. Another remarkable quality that often emerges in older individuals who live alone is a gentle but powerful freedom from attachment. This does not mean they no longer care about people or life. Rather, it means their relationship with things, with outcomes, expectations, and even relationships has transformed. Over time, life teaches many lessons. Some come through joy, but many come through loss. And with each experience, there is an opportunity to understand a simple but profound truth. Everything changes. In Buddhist philosophy, attachment is often described as the root of suffering. Not because connection is wrong, but because clinging creates pain. When we hold too tightly to how things should be, we suffer when life unfolds differently. Older individuals who have embraced living alone often begin to loosen this grip. They learn to appreciate without possessing, to love without controlling, to experience life without constantly trying to secure it. This creates a sense of lightness. You may notice that such individuals do not become easily disturbed by small inconveniences. They are less reactive, less entangled in unnecessary conflict. This is because they are no longer holding tightly to rigid expectations. Life is allowed to move as it does. There is a quiet story in Buddhist teaching about a traveler who carried a heavy bag across a long journey. Inside were stones he had collected, believing each one was valuable. Over time, the weight became unbearable. When he finally opened the bag, he realized most of the stones were ordinary. Slowly, he began to set them down, one by one. With each stone released, his steps became lighter. In many ways, attachment is like that bag. Living alone can gently reveal what is essential and what is not. Without constant external influence, a person begins to see more clearly what truly matters. Many things that once felt important lose their weight. And what remains is often simple: peace, health, meaningful connection, and inner balance. If you reflect on your own life, you may notice moments when letting go brought relief, when releasing control created space, when accepting change allowed you to breathe more freely. This is not detachment in a cold or distant sense. It is a warm, understanding form of non-attachment, a way of engaging with life fully while knowing that nothing can be held forever. Older individuals who live alone often embody this wisdom quietly. They do not need to speak about it. You can feel it in their presence. There is less tension, less urgency, less fear of loss. And in that space, there is a quiet kind of freedom, a freedom that allows life to be experienced as it is, not as we insist it must be. 3. A mind rooted in the present moment. A third quality often found in older individuals who love to live alone is a deep connection to the present moment. This may sound simple, but in truth, it is one of the most refined forms of wisdom. For much of life, the mind is pulled in many directions. It dwells in memories of the past or drifts toward worries about the future. There is always something unfinished, something anticipated, something unresolved. And in that constant movement, the present moment is often overlooked. But over time, especially in solitude, something begins to shift. When there are fewer distractions, fewer external demands, the mind has an opportunity to return, to here, to now, not as an idea, but as a lived experience. You may notice that people who are comfortable being alone often move more slowly, more deliberately. They are not rushing through moments. They are inhabiting them, whether it is preparing a simple meal, sitting quietly with a cup of tea, or watching the light change throughout the day. There is a sense of presence in what they do. In Buddhist teaching, there is a simple yet profound instruction. When walking, just walk. When eating, just eat. At first, this may seem almost too obvious, but when practiced, it reveals how rarely we are fully present with what we are doing. The mind tends to divide itself, thinking about something else while the body is here. This division creates restlessness, but presence brings unity. It gathers the scattered parts of attention and brings them into one place. Living alone for many older individuals creates the ideal conditions for this awareness to deepen. Without constant interruption, the rhythm of life becomes more visible. The small details that were once unnoticed begin to reveal themselves. The sound of wind through a window, the feeling of breath moving in and out, the subtle changes in one's own thoughts and emotions. These are not extraordinary events, yet they carry a quiet richness. There is a well-known story of a monk who asked his teacher, "What is enlightenment?" The teacher replied, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." The actions did not change. What changed was the awareness within them. This is the essence of presence. Older individuals who embrace solitude often come to understand this without needing to name it. They begin to experience life not as something to rush through, but as something to inhabit fully. And perhaps you have felt glimpses of this yourself. Moments when time seems to slow, when you are not thinking about what comes next, when there is no urgency to be anywhere else. In those moments, there is a quiet completeness. Nothing is missing. This quality does not require isolation to develop, but solitude can make it more accessible. It removes the constant pull of distraction and allows attention to settle naturally. Over time, this presence becomes more stable, less dependent on circumstances, more like a gentle background awareness that remains even as life continues to move. And within that awareness, there is a kind of peace that does not need to be created, only noticed. 4. Emotional balance and quiet strength. Another deeply admirable quality often found in older individuals who live alone is emotional balance. Not the absence of emotion, but a refined relationship with it. Life brings a wide range of experiences: joy, loss, change, uncertainty, and with each experience comes emotion. In earlier years, these emotions can feel overwhelming, unpredictable, difficult to manage. The mind reacts quickly. Feelings rise and fall like waves in a storm. But over time, especially in solitude, something begins to change. When a person spends more time alone, they naturally become more familiar with their inner world. They begin to observe their emotions rather than immediately reacting to them. There is space between feeling and response, and in that space, something powerful emerges: choice. Instead of being carried away by every emotional wave, they learn to remain steady, to acknowledge what they feel without becoming consumed by it. This is not suppression, it is understanding. In Buddhist wisdom, emotions are often compared to passing clouds. They appear, they shift, and eventually they dissolve. The sky itself remains unchanged. Older individuals who embrace solitude often begin to identify less with the clouds and more with the sky. This creates a quiet strength. You may notice that such individuals are not easily shaken by external circumstances. They do not react impulsively to every situation. There is a sense of steadiness in how they respond to life. Even in difficulty, there is composure. There is a story of a man who once approached the Buddha and began shouting a string of hateful insults. The Buddha listened calmly until the man finished, then asked, If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong? The man replied, to the one who offered it. The Buddha smiled gently and said, then I do not accept your anger. The man realized that his anger had no power over others unless they chose to take it. This story reflects a profound understanding of emotional boundaries. Living alone often strengthens this ability. Without constant external validation or reaction, a person becomes less dependent on others to regulate their emotional state. They learn to sit with discomfort, to understand it, to allow it to pass. This does not make them distant or cold. On the contrary, it often makes them more compassionate, both toward themselves and toward others. Because they understand the nature of emotions, they are less likely to judge them. If you reflect on your own experiences, you may recall moments when reacting immediately led to regret, and moments when pausing brought clarity. That pause is where emotional balance begins. Older individuals who live alone often expand that pause into a way of being. Their strength is not loud. It does not seek attention. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. And when you are in the presence of someone like this, you may feel it without needing it to be explained. A sense of calm, a sense of safety, a sense that no matter what arises, it can be met with understanding rather than resistance. This is emotional balance, not as control, but as harmony. 5. A gentle clarity about what truly matters. Perhaps one of the most beautiful qualities that emerges in older individuals who love to live alone is a gentle but unmistakable clarity about what truly matters in life. This clarity is not something that comes from reading or being told what is important. It is shaped slowly through years of experience, through moments of gain and loss, connection and separation, certainty and change. Over time, many things that once seemed urgent begin to lose their intensity. The need to impress others, the desire to accumulate endlessly, the habit of comparing one's life to others. These patterns begin to fade, not because they are forced away, but because they are seen more clearly. Living alone often accelerates this process. Without constant social pressure or distraction, a person begins to encounter their life more directly. There is more space to reflect, more space to observe what brings genuine peace and what does not. And slowly, priorities begin to shift. What remains is often simple, yet deeply meaningful. Peace of mind becomes more valuable than external success. Time becomes more precious than possessions. Authentic connection becomes more important than approval. There is a story in Buddhist tradition about a man who spent his entire life searching for a hidden treasure. He traveled far, endured many hardships, and followed countless clues. In the end, he discovered that the treasure was buried beneath his own home. At first, he felt frustration. Why had he searched so far for something so close? But then he understood, without the journey, he would not have recognized its value. In many ways, clarity about life works the same way. It is not that the answers were never there. It is that they could not be fully understood until they were lived. Older individuals who embrace solitude often carry this understanding quietly. They no longer feel the need to chase every opportunity or prove their worth. Instead, they choose more carefully where to place their attention and energy. You may notice that they find joy in very simple things: a peaceful morning, a meaningful conversation, a moment of quiet reflection. These are not seen as small or insignificant. They are recognized as the essence of a well-lived life. There is also a greater acceptance of impermanence. Rather than resisting change, they begin to move with it. They understand that everything, experiences, relationships, even life itself, is temporary. And instead of creating fear, this understanding often brings appreciation. Because when you know something will not last forever, you begin to value it more deeply while it is here. This clarity also brings a sense of alignment. Decisions become simpler, not because life is easier, but because there is less internal conflict. There is a clearer sense of what feels true and what does not. If you listen closely, you may notice this clarity within yourself as well. Moments when you realize that something you once worried about no longer matters. Moments when you feel drawn towards simplicity rather than complexity. Moments when you choose peace over proving a point. These are not random. They are glimpses of the same understanding. Living alone, for those who embrace it, creates the space for these glimpses to deepen and stabilize. Over time, life becomes less about accumulation and more about alignment. Less about doing more and more about being present. Less about becoming someone else and more about returning to who you already are. This is not withdrawal from life, it is a refinement of it. A quiet recognition that what truly matters has always been simple and always been close. If you see yourself in these qualities, even in small ways, take a moment to honor that. The path of solitude is not always understood by others, but it carries a quiet wisdom that reveals itself over time. Living alone, when embraced with awareness, is not a limitation, it is an opportunity. A space where clarity, peace, and understanding can gently grow. If this video resonated with you, feel free to share your thoughts below. Your presence here matters more than you may realize, and as always, may you continue to find peace, not outside, but within yourself.